You are 70 years old, and I would like you to live for 70 more years on this planet. And
But when it's someone you know, it shouldn't be as hard that you can't give them a few minutes every once in a while.
make me scared from inside. That much scared that I could not ride a bike until I was 26, 28, I think. I was so much scared of the roads because of that little incident.
You have to care.
Hello, dear fellas. Welcome to Side Hustle. We often talk about things like business, self development, self help, but there is something that we least talk about, which is mental health. If we won't take care of our this multi-million dollar machine, the rest of the stuff will go wrong. Your business will be affected, your body will be affected, your relationship will be affected. The guest that I have with me, I won't say that she's an expert in all this, but she's been through all these things and all of her life. Please, everybody, welcome Miss Kelleen Dawson. Kelleen, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you this
Okay,
evening?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, Kelleen, I would like you to introduce to my audience yourself. Who is Kelleen Dawson?
I am a survivor of a lifetime of mental illness until I finally came out of it with hope and a new future. But it was a lifelong struggle, many, many, many years. And I learned a lot. And I'd like to share some of the things that I learned so people would understand that mental illness is real. It is a
Okay.
real illness. And the sad thing is, with the stigma around it, a lot of people
Hmm.
won't go and get help. Also, it keeps things from growing and learning. And until the internet came aboard, it was really tough, really tough. You couldn't even talk about it and made life miserable if you suffered. So you lived in your own little world in your mind and you fought by yourself. So how I look at myself as a survivor.
You are a survivor, right? So, what's your age, and at what point you started feeling that there is something wrong with you?
What is my age now?
What is
I
your age now, and what was the year when you started feeling that there is something unnatural going on? Yeah.
okay. Right now, last week I turned 70, and I
That's
was, yeah, I did. I made it. I feel good about that. I'm still here. And with a lot of stuff I've been through, hey, that's accomplishment. But in all seriousness, it started around 13. And at first, it just started with some real moodiness and not wanting to do things, just not right. Something was wrong, but not serious yet, but it was there. It was always there in the background. So, and then my mother was one of those that kept us so busy you didn't have time to think, actually, and that's true. She really did. So, after my teens, in my early 20s is when it started having more effect. Um, Basically, started feeling uncomfortable at jobs, almost like a paranoia, like I always thought people were out to get you. And it's because I really couldn't talk. But the other part was the sadness started. First, it started with SAD. That's the winter kind of blues when the skies are gray. That's how it first started. After that, then the anxiety came in as toward my end of my 20s. And it just built, it just built every, I guess every year, it was just worse and worse and worse. And I didn't know what was going on. I really didn't have a clue. I just knew something was wrong. So by 34, I can say that's when all hell broke out for real. Within a year, I was a basket case. I mean, a true basket case. And what I understand now what happened, but I didn't at the time. And
Okay.
it made life hard, so hard that I began fighting what I call the illness, the real illness, and that's in your mind. And
Yeah.
they said, well, it's all in your mind. It really is. It's all in your mind.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. If you
But
can win the battle here, the rest of the stuff becomes quite easy. Yeah.
Problem
So,
is, some parents are worse than others.
yeah. So, Kareem, we will gradually move towards your story. But
Okay,
starting from the year when you were 13, that's the exact time when a girl hits puberty, right? So,
exactly.
I
That's why
expect
I
that
was.
you might have discussed all that stuff with your siblings or with your parents that there are some mood swings or I do not feel like doing work, something like that, and they might have associated all those things with the puberty. Maybe you will tell me if that happened with you. So, did you discuss all that stuff with any of your siblings or parents, and
Nobody.
what was their response at that time? Nobody. Why? Why is it?
I didn't have any sisters. I just have one
Okay.
brother. Okay,
Okay.
very small.
Okay.
I'm a year older than him. And
Okay.
my mother was very strict, and I mean extreme. And she would
Oh.
just put me to work. She was actually, I hate to say this, but overly. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And so talking to her to something like this, she said, "Oh, it's just in your head. You could get up and do something. I'll just put you busy. That'll solve that." So she never understood till ever. I never could really talk to her. I never got support from home. I never got support from family because nobody would talk about it. And you know what's sad? A lot of people in my family um, had mental illness, but they wouldn't get help. And they would say, "I'm not crazy." That's the way they thought. I was one of the few that said, "No, I want to know. I'm just that
Hmm.
stubborn. I don't want to live like this if I don't have to." And so you have to start your searching. And
Hmm.
it just gets worse the older you get, the longer you wait for treatment. That's why I always tell people get treatment as soon as it starts. Don't wait. It's just worse. You might be able to eliminate a lot of it early. I
Hmm.
wish I could
But
have found.
yeah, but I think we should not be annoyed from our parents because they also had this limited knowledge. There was no internet. There was
Right.
no education about all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I think one should never ever hold grudge to them. You see, there is always a generation gap. Still, I am a millennial, and I feel that whatever I am thinking, my thinking doesn't match with my father and mother. And I'm ready for this. That even my daughter and my son, they are not going to develop 100% conformance with whatever I am thinking. Right? Would you agree with that? So I think that was
Yes,
the difference.
it's
Yeah.
it's true. It's just I had nobody, but one exception, my father. My
Okay, he
father
understood
and I
you.
were close. Pardon? Sorry.
He understood you.
Yes, because I was just like him.
Okay.
But he had OCD. That was it. But other than our personalities, what we liked, we would spend hours. We loved movies and discussing all kinds of history. That was what
Okay.
we really shared. And
Okay.
he was very, he helped in his own way. Maybe not direct, but he really did. So he was extraordinary.
Okay. So before moving to any medical help, did you try to manage all these things yourself, like developing some sort of hobbies? Did you try doing some sort of painting, sketching, or anything? Book reading is a very good redemption from all that stuff. Did you try anything to get rid of all that stuff on your own?
Okay, well, you didn't know all about that back then. Okay, that it really would help. But I did love going to movies. That was my escape. That's
Okay.
better than other stuff. It just
Okay.
wasn't really.
Movies of 60s and 70s, right? Right.
Pardon? Movies about
Movies
what?
from six movies from 60s or 70s.
60s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s,
Oh.
2000s. I
you
mean,
are you are literally holding an era within yourself, right?
yeah, I mean, my dad and I would go to the movies. I never liked to
Okay.
go to movies with anyone but him. Here's
Okay.
why.
Okay. Okay.
We would always challenge each
Right.
other.
Right. So I have read your book. I don't know what's wrong. That's the title of your book. And you have discussed personal challenges like homelessness, mental illness. So how this homelessness came with the mental illness? How you became homeless and all that you share.
Well, the homelessness came in 2011, where I start my book, and that was
Okay.
because the government and the banks and it affected a lot of homeowners nationwide, not just me, and a lot of people lost their home. So technically, I was homeless, didn't have a home, technically. But because of my job, the type of job I have, I could, I was a traveling sales lady. Yes, I really was. I did it for 12 years. And I went from city to city every summer for like 6 months. And during the rest of the year, I would be closer to home. But in that, I stayed from one hotel to the next, free for 8 months while I decided what I was going to do with my life. And that was how I kept a roof over myself, made money on the road, how we survived. So I was lucky. Yes, technically I was, but I had a way to live. And then I decided to move with my brother. And my brother said, come and live with me, sis. Okay, but you have to know something. He is bipolar. And I move in and I'm depressed, and depression and anxiety. Oh, that was fun.
Bipolar, was fun. Depression and anxiety. That would have been fun. It would have been a fun ride.
No, it actually, I understood a lot of different things because I did a lot of research. You have to understand your illness if you want to fight it. And I always did a lot, even before the internet. I would try to find anything I could on it. And that's what helped me understand some of it. It just wasn't fun. But moving him, that was fun.
Okay. So since you have said, Ms. Dawson, that your brother was affected with bipolar disorder, and you said your father was also like you. So do you feel there was some OCD, yes, if I got it right? So do you feel that there was something genetically going on? And have you found any glimpse of all that stuff in your daughter or son, if you have one? I don't know. Grandson.
But luckily, because of my thing, my daughter and I, we jumped on it. We didn't let him get by for a moment, and he's doing fine. Because I saw it, and I told my daughter, I said, it's there, trust me. And we worked on it real quick. Get help. That's why I really preach that. It can really help you get through it and not get so bad because you understand it.
Right.
That helps.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there is something called generational trauma that goes on and on. I have seen this in a lot of different movies that there is something like that, and I'm seeing this
as a
real example in your home. Okay, so what actually motivated you to get your story in the form of a book? So do you have this innate talent of writing all that stuff, or did you just came upon your own and let's just do it? Yeah.
Very much the latter. But during my traveling, I went to small towns, and I would almost meet a woman in almost every town. And I never went out looking for them. They just happened to find me, or God. I really believe that. But you can't walk to, do you need help? You can't. It's just one of those things where you sit down, they sit down. I'm easy to talk to, and I can take a look at them and go, oh, I know when to look at them. That stare, the trying to hide behind a mask. Well, if you suffered with it for so many years, you spot it. You can spot it quick who's covering up, and because you've done it. So I helped a lot of women. I only mentioned a few in the book because it would go on and on forever, but I mentioned some of the more important situations that were special, I guess, or moments. And everybody I helped kept telling me, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Or Kelleen, write a book. Write the book. Tell people what you helped me with. Tell them how you did it. And I said, well, why? Because everybody was saying that, even doctors, even strangers I would meet and help, they would tell me all the same thing. You need to write a book. And I would start asking, why? Why me? And they said, because you have a way of explaining something that you can grasp quickly what it is, the difference of regular depression versus mental depression. And it helped
Right.
them. It helped them.
Right. 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 Right.